Asian country, whether you're from Korea or Japan, they were all influenced by Confucius values. Okay? What Confucius famous for? Any Chinese friend know? Back there, what Confucius famous for?
仁爱，
Huh?
仁爱，
What that?
仁爱，
Renai. Oh, Renai. Good. Anything else about Confucius? So Confucius was born in a time of 春秋战国 warring state, other fights. So he tried to find a way, how can I achieve world peace? And that's motivating. How can I find a way set the world, the country, we don't fight each other all the time. So many innocent people got killed. 春秋战国 many people die. 曹操 张飞 all those famous people, all they fight, right? And 诸葛亮 all the famous people, okay? But look at Confucius' cardinal virtues. How is that different from Aristotle? These are Aristotle, okay? Now, can you tell me what the main difference? Okay. Michael, right? Michael, right? Michael see 仁爱. What's 仁爱? 仁, the first one, 仁爱 means to be human is to have compassion and love, be kind, right? So, the ren is very, very important. You can't be kind to people. But there are two things that are here but not in Aristotle. What are two virtues? One is li. What is li? Means propriety, proper manners, treat people with proper manner. See, I'm older than you, you're bow to me, right? So the different ways, the different manner, different rituals, different etiquettes governing society. So you people have the manners, then things go smoothly, right? Now in North America, they really need to court on manners because they're so rude. People are very rude, right? They say things, insulting people, they step on your toe. That's why there's so much conflict, right? If you develop the people are polite, pure, then it's a lot smoother, right? Mm-hmm. And the last one, xin. Now, what does that mean? That is also missing in Aristotle. Xin means loyalty or filial piety. Since in China, you have to be good to your parents, filial piety, right? So my children do not treat me the same way that I treat my parents, right? So filial piety, loyalty, trustworthiness, 讲信义 So all the virtues from Confucius focus on societal virtues, not just for self. It's how to maintain a harmonious group, how to maintain world peace. See the difference? Whereas Aristotle's virtue is more personal development, but Confucius' virtue is always from self-cultivation to 或者 saying 修心
修身养性，
修心
齐家治国平天下。
So the aim of self-cultivation so that you can have a harmonious family, you can have a peaceful society, and you have a peaceful world. So the aim of this self-cultivation is always transcend self-interest to reach out to your family, to society, to whole humanity. Is the difference? So Confucius' teaching is a teaching of self-transcendence, how to cultivate yourself not for self-interest, but how to cultivate yourself so that you can serve your family, your society, and humanity. Okay? Now, so far we talk about the ancient wisdom about self-transcendence. Now, Carl Rogers. Carl Rogers is very influential humanistic psychologist about personal growth. Now, what is his main focus? His main focus is that parents start loving your children unconditionally. Conditional love means what? You have to get high marks in order for me to love you. If you do not get high marks, you are no good son. I will scold you. I will insult you. So that is not unconditional. That's conditional on performance. Unconditional acceptance means I love you, I accept you because you are my children, regardless of how poor you perform in school, regardless no matter what, you're always my son, you're always my daughter. So Carl Rogers is saying that if we show unconditional acceptance of others, then what? Then the other will develop unconditional acceptance of themselves. Right? So many people cannot accept themselves. Oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, I'm a failure. Oh, I'm sick. Oh, I will not make it. Because the parents say you're stupid, you're good for nothing, you're useless. If the parent cannot accept them, so they cannot accept themselves. As a result, they never develop their strengths. They never develop the potential. So Carl Rogers said, if you want to develop your potential, you just have to accept yourself unconditionally. That is a precondition for personal growth. Okay? Good idea there, huh? Now, here's what's interesting. This is my famous quote. Maslow said, a musician must make music, an artist must paint, a poet must write. If he is to be ultimately at peace with himself, he must be what he's meant to be. You get that? If you are less than what you ought to be, you will be unhappy, unfulfilled, frustrated, right? See, I always tell my wife that I'm a writer, I must write. So then whenever I go, I have a notebook, I keep on writing, right? And she's a photographer, right? So everybody goes, she take pictures. So a photographer must take pictures, a writer must write. So what are you?
A therapist.
What?
A play therapist must play.
Oh, a person must play. Oh, good. Oh, good. So that is the thing, right? You ought to be what you're meant to be. So before I tried to be a violinist, my hand too small, could never make it. I want to paint, I have a private teacher. My teacher said, oh, you have no talent. So I give that up after 5 years. And I want to be a creative writer. My brother, who is a very famous writer, he said, oh, your writing not good enough. So I never become a famous writer. But I can write psychology, I'm fine, because I got psychology insight, right? So I'm a good psychologist. I'm one of the best, okay? But that's what I am, right? Mm-hmm. I'm a psychologist, I'm someone who writes about psychology. So you got to discover what you're good at. Now, here's a warning though, okay? If you think you're good in A, you're good in acting, suppose you're good in acting. Okay? Anybody want to be an actress or actor? But you could find a job in acting, what do you do? What do you do? You serve on tables, right? In Hollywood, there are many aspiring actors, actresses serve on tables. So pursuing a dream is one thing, make a living is another thing. You dream to be an artist, but you don't want to be a starving artist. So you wait on table, or you work in a laundry shop, or wherever you can find a job, or work in Tim Horton. Do you know how I like to work in Tim Horton? Or McDonald's. You get a job, right, to study, but you continue to pursue your dream of being an artist. The key is to pursue your dream. Now, another theory is positive psychology theory. Right now, positive psychology is very popular. So Martin Seligman is the big gun. He's well known. According to positive psychology, what's the key to a happy life? What's the key? The key is to pursue different areas of wellness. It's called PERMA. So here's an area saying that you will develop this area. P means positive emotion. If you make yourself happy, okay? E means engagement. You are engaged in something you enjoy. R means relationship. M means meaning. And A means achievement. If you are doing well in all these areas, then you'll be happy, you'll be successful. Now this is helpful, but what's wrong with this approach?
It doesn't deal with negative emotion.
Okay, anything else?
Does it speak to self-transcendence that you're talking about?
Okay. There's something wrong with so Martin Seligman doesn't like me very much because I keep on criticizing him, okay? But his students love me, okay? So the main criticism is that when you focus on different parts, but a person is more than the sum of its parts, right? You lose out the person, right? Because these 5 parts, okay? Which part more important? Right? Which part more important? So you just don't know which part to develop, right? But lose out the person, and he doesn't understand the concept of self-transcendence. But still, it's helpful if you can cultivate strength in all 5 areas. Your life will be much better. Now, here's my friend, Mr. Franco. So I like him a lot more. Okay? Rick Franco speaks my language, or I speak his language. Now, he is famous for what? For logotherapy. What's logotherapy?
Logotherapy. Looking for meaning.
Meaning therapy, right?
Yeah.
Logotherapy, meaning therapy, right? So to me, Franco's book, Human Quest for Meaning, is still one of the bestsellers. All-time bestseller in self-help book. Okay? So you haven't read it, you pick up a copy, okay? Very helpful. Now, let me tell you why. This is his basic tenet. The first one is that you have free will. You have the freedom of will. That's the fundamental. You have the capacity for self-determination to determine your own future. The second is very important, is that you not only have a free will, but you have the free will to choose meaning. Not free will to choose drug, but you have the will to choose the most noble, most spiritual goal, a meaningful life. To him, meaning means self-transcendence. In other words, you have the will to choose a life of self-transcendence. You follow me? Self-transcendence represents the deepest yearning in your human soul. The third basic tenet is that meaning can be found anywhere, even on your deathbed. He was able to find meaning in Nazi concentration camp. Now, have you been to Nazi concentration camp? You know this is where people was sent to oven to burn to death. You know, this the degree of degradation and atrocity is beyond imagination. Okay? People suffer immensely. But in that situation, he is still able to find meaning and dignity because of meaning. Okay? So now just briefly summary, now this is a summary of what he meant by self-transcendence. First of all, it is the primary motivation. In other words, everybody has a yearning for meaning. It's not possible to find human being that never thought about meaning. It's impossible. It's impossible to live without meaning. Right? It's impossible to live without meaning. Our mind is thinking about meaning, our heart desire for meaning. It's simply our nature. Secondly, is an ultimate value. Ultimate value is a terminal value. For example, what value is most important to you? What value is most important to? Okay, what is the value most important to people? Money, right? I want money. Money can even make the devil work for you, right? Chinese saying that 有钱能使鬼推磨，是吧？ Your money can make the devil work for you, right? So money is everything. Say money. But I've seen many people, rich people are so miserable, right? So the money is not good value. Other people say value is power. So you have power, that make others obey me. The power is not good value either. Because some people go to jail, you know why? Because they cheat, they lie, they do everything, they murder in order to get power. So power is not good value. So Frankel says that the best value is self-transcendence. It will serve a higher purpose, to serve the common good, to serve people. Still, to serve people, not talk about it, to serve people, to serve God. So that is the best value, okay? And thirdly, self-transcendence is an expression of our spirituality. So everybody has spiritual nature. How do you know you're a spiritual person? Because you want to worship God, you serve Him, you want to love people, you serve them. If you have love and faith and self-transcendence, then your behavior shows that you are not a cow, you are not a pig, you are a human being, you are a spiritual being, right? And the next one is that meaning is a way of overcoming limitation. Self-transcendence is a way of navigating through paradox and opposites, and also is a style of fully functioning human being. So we will explain all these things more clearly later on. Now here is a diagram that originally created by Frankel, but improved on by me. Okay, so basically, people say you cannot just measure life whether you're success or failure, because success and failure is just one dimension. Just one dimension, but there's another dimension. That means the meaning dimension. You either fulfill meaning or you did not fulfill meaning. Simple that. Okay, simple that, okay? Ideal life. An ideal life will be you are successful, but you are also have meaning in your life, right? Have transcendence. So that's ideal life, right? But if you are successful, but you don't have meaning in your life, then what? Your life will be shallow, right? There's no depth. You don't have money, but your life's empty. You're very successful, you make money, but you don't have any meaning, so your life is shallow. Here, your life is a failure, like Van Gogh. You know Van Gogh? The whole lifetime, he never saw any painting, except saw one of his brother. So Van Gogh is a failure as an artist. But his life is full of meaning. But his mission is to capture beauty for future generations. So he devotes his life to capture the beauty on canvas. So he has a meaningful life. But he can't sell his painting. He's ahead of his time. But even then, he lives a sacrificial life. He lives a life of self-sacrifice, but still he feels satisfied that my life is not wasted. I did not waste my life. I create so much beauty for future generations to enjoy. So I sacrifice my present comfort so that other people will benefit, right? But if you have no meaning or failure, then your life is totally wasted. So where are you now? You want to here, or you want here? So therefore, if you aim at self-transcendence and meaning, you can't lose. You can't lose, right? And here I say, if you are able to transcend success and failure, then you enter the sacred realm of self-transcendence. You know what? If you pursue transcendence, then success and failure become less important. Do you follow me? Mm-hmm. You're right above that. I fail, yes. I may fail in my job, but I succeed in my life. You follow that? You can succeed in your life, but still fail to accomplish something in the world. So you're right above. So self-transcendence is a synthesis of all your life experiences from failure to success. So failure does not bother you that much if you're able to rise to the level of self-transcendence. Do you follow the logic? Or too ambiguous? So basically you can rise above success and failure. Mm-hmm. Do not evaluate me as success and failure. Mm-hmm. Evaluate me whether my life is good, is meaningful. Now, Einstein said the same thing. This world is full of people who are successful but bad. We need people of value, of goodness. So virtue is more important than success. Okay. Let me sip a coffee first. So let me rest for 1 minute.
Want to take a break? Want to take a break?
Okay, take a break, yeah.
5-minute break?
Okay, thank you.